Hey there, this is Ryche for Fingerstyle 360, and in this column we're talking about some different ways you can add some personality, expression, and general feeling to your playing. Now, this is a very complicated topic. In some ways, it's kind of the hardest thing to teach. And it's certainly not something I'm going to completely cover just in this one column. But my objective here is that if it's something you haven't thought about, or don't know how to even begin, or it's something you feel is lacking in your own playing, that maybe there's something here that can just plant a seed in the back of your mind to get it into your practice routine when you're practicing and playing and even listening to other music, that it's something you're starting to be aware of and conscious of. Now, one of the things I see a lot of with some players and students is that the focus is very, very heavily weighted on notes. What notes am I playing? I'm trying to get their hand to a certain note. Is that the right note? Did I play a wrong note? What notes should I play over this chord or over this progression? And of course, nothing wrong with this. Notes are very important, and I want you to keep practicing them and thinking about them. But I also want to shift the attention a little bit to how you play these notes. There are some scenarios, maybe a classical ensemble or something like that, where your job will be to play exactly what's written on the page, exactly how it is written, and that's it. But for most of us, we can basically play it however we like. So we can take what's written on the page as more of a guide. So if we see something on the page that's like, let's say, these 6 notes. Now, we might see those written on the page, get our guitar and look at it and say, and then think, okay, I did it. It says to do that. I did it. My job's done. But what I want you to start to think about is how many different ways we might be able to approach this one phrase. So I'm going to cover a lot of ground here in a very short time, but hopefully you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about. So there's our little melody, our little phrase we're talking about. Now I might feel like I want more sustain here. So I might want to hold on to this first note, this D, throughout the whole thing. I might want to play it up here, because maybe I prefer the tonal color I get up in this position of the 12th fret, playing the same pitch on different strings. Maybe doing it this way, I like that minor second interval that I get going from B, C, and back again, and overlapping them. Maybe I prefer harmonics, and I might want to play it like this, because that sounds great. Another thing might be to use some classic guitar articulations, like maybe a slide. So even though it's not written on the page, it just says this, I might feel like, you know what, I think that note would sound great just sliding into that next one. Maybe some hammer-ons, pull-offs, classic guitar things we all love, right? Grace notes, which I like to use a lot of. They're kind of like really short notes that don't even affect really the rhythmic value of the primary notes. So for instance, in this phrase, I might go, so if I'm using that it's like very, very quick hammer-ons or slides or pull-offs, doesn't really matter, but they're so quick that they don't, like I said, they don't affect the rhythmic value of that note. It still sounds like rhythm-wise. Slides. Try sliding the other way. What about staccato? Short, detached. We can obviously play louder or softer, you know. What else can we do? Vibrato. So very, very quick bends up and down, very slight and very fast. Just coax a little more sustain out of it that way. So, like I said, that's a lot of stuff in just a very small time, but hopefully you're getting the idea of how many different ways we can approach just this one phrase. So, where do you start? Well, what I would say is take a song, maybe it's your own song, or a song you're familiar with, and just a short piece of it, maybe 4 bars, 8 bars maybe, and just try and add all these different things we talked about. See if you can put in a slide. See if there's notes there that will work as harmonics. You know, if it's notated and you've always played it up here in the 3rd position, for example, try playing it up here. See what it sounds like. Move it around and see how you emotionally connect and respond to these different changes. When you're listening to your favorite players, be aware of what they're doing. If they're sliding up into a note, make a note of it. If they're using grace notes, you know, if they back off the volume a little bit or increase it, make a note of these things and how you as the listener respond to it. So if you love a certain phrasing in a guitar solo or something, try and ask yourself, why do I love that? What's so good about it? Is it the note choice? Is it the phrasing? Figure out what they're doing, and then maybe there's some aspect of that that you can incorporate into your own playing, because there's something there that you love and you're responding to. So you can maybe put some of that, maybe it's the phrasing, which beats are being accented in a group of 4 or something, and bring it into your own playing. And you will find over time, when you start doing this, you will gravitate towards certain things. You know, some people might really just respond heavily to like harmonics, and they love that sound, you know. So if there's a harmonic available for a certain pitch, they want to find it. And that's cool. Maybe you're someone that likes the sound of like playing a phrase like this one, all on one string, and lots of slides. Maybe you like bends. You know, maybe you like bends, but not on the 1st string. Maybe you don't like that sound and you prefer it here. You know, all those little subtle things will add up to basically become you. I mean, you know, this is your musical sensibility that is coming through. So when you start playing and playing these things that you love and that move you, you're now sort of expressing yourself a little more clearly than if you just sort of, you know, just play the notes, because that's what it says. So, again, take a look in the magazine, and I've got a little tune that I've written here, and example 1 and example 2, they're identical. The only difference is example 1, I'm going to play very, very, I guess, dry, with no articulation. I'll try and play it as though I'm trying to play exactly what's written down. Example 2, we've got some slides, grace notes, hammer-ons, pull-offs, and tempo and dynamic changes. So you can hear a little bit of the difference between one to the other. So let's check it out. And I should mention I'm in tuning D, G, D, G, B, E. A little bit out. Alright, here we go. Example 1. Alright, so you can hear the tune, you can hear the harmony, the melody, but it was fairly dry and, you know, not especially that interesting to me, as the player at least. Let's try example 2 with some of these articulations and dynamics and tempo changes that we've talked about. Well, there you go. Now, like I said at the beginning, this is not something that's going to happen overnight, but hopefully it's planted a seed somewhere in the back of your mind so that when you're playing and practicing and even listening to music, that this is something you're conscious of. These subtle dynamic and articulation choices is something that you're conscious of them existing in music, you're conscious of them being an option for you as a performer and as a player and arranger, and you're conscious of their impact on you as a listener and as a player, how it feels when you play, so that hopefully it will help you on a path to where you feel like you can pick up an instrument and you are actually communicating something of you to your audience, whoever that is. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and thank you for watching and listening and supporting Fingerstyle 360. I'm Dylan Ryche, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.